All right. Okay, there we go. We're live.
Hey,
Welcome everybody to week 3 of the NFL. Brought to you unofficially, but just for men. So
just fuck
unofficial.
off. I
I'm
just
not
got.
gonna. You're welcome. So how you doing, Joe?
Better than freaking, I guess, just for men.
Right. So, what did you think of weeks 1 and 2? We never got to
The review weeks 1 and 2.
week 1. I think you were just scared about losing the Pittsburgh Falcons bet. That's what I think.
Did lose the Pittsburgh Falcons bet
Um,
because Pittsburgh won.
yeah,
And,
18-10.
yeah, I mean, they kicked field goals and they won, right? I mean,
hey, a point's a point, right? You play to win the game.
they I guess, I mean, I wouldn't call that the biggest upset of week 1. I would say probably the most, I guess, shocking upset was how the Patriots versus Bengals in week 1, and the Patriots won because you didn't know. There's a lot of unknown. New head coach, rookie quarterback, how it was going to work, and they played systematic football, just like how if Bill Belichick was there, they didn't force anything, down the field. They just took what was given to them and played complementary football and won the game ultimately. Giants, I mean, the Vikings definitely added a lot more pieces than what I anticipated to their defense. Daniel Jones looked extremely uncomfortable while playing, and it showed with the Giants.
It really showed.
Or 6 points. So, I'm sorry, I was just looking at my wife's ass.
Hey.
He's annoying.
No shame.
Love you, babe. Okay. She's coming back in anyway. I'll let the door open. So anyway, going back to the Giants, the Vikings, might actually be, I won't go contender, right? It's way too early saying contender, but they're definitely playing some good football. I think they found a system for, once, considered probably a bust quarterback in Sam Darnold, and he's actually playing decent ball, taking what the defense is giving to him, but also not afraid to take the long shot. So week 1 was full of upsets in my eyes. Not upsets, sorry. I guess, the Patriots being the shocking one, and then just, the refs being on the Chiefs side. I want to get that out there.
I would say they were more on Taylor Swift's side than the Chiefs' side.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the refs are never ever going to get back together.
Oh man, they got to shake it off. Baltimore's got to shake it off. So.
Or else there's going to be bad blood.
And they'll be sitting at home crying on their guitar, listening to Tim McGraw.
Yeah, that's just mean.
Yeah.
It's enough Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm starting to see red. So, all right. Any other?
My wife just put this on my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to go to work. Bye, Reggie. It was good to see you.
Take it easy, Steph. That's staying in.
Come on.
So, any other surprises? Not surprises with week 1.
Week 1. I guess it was unfortunate. The Jets, they were to be expected to, probably win in week 1, and they lost. I think that was it. The Jets are currently 1-1. I believe they won last week.
Yeah, going into week 2, they beat the Titans 24-17.
They lost week 1. I anticipated the Jets to win just because you hear Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, Nazard, and having a full off season again, and Aaron Rodgers looked human in that game. He didn't do anything spectacular. He actually I think he threw a pick. That was definitely a shock to me from week 1. Week 2, I think it's getting a little. I think the week leveled out. I mean, the biggest shock out of week 2 was the Falcons beating the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and the Saints just utterly just pushing the stool in on Dallas.
Oh, they whooped Dallas's ass.
I did not see that coming, as far as, because everyone talks. I mean, you hear it. I mean, granted, how much I loathe Dallas, I can't take away from the fact that they are a good football team, and they got blown out.
They 44-19 for New Orleans.
And you just don't. Because Dallas it's always been like a contender. They always say in the the pregame shows and all that through the week, Dallas is going to be going deep into the playoffs, and yet under Dak Prescott's being the quarterback, he's only gotten 2 playoff victories out of potentially 7 that they've been to the playoffs under him.
As just speaking as a football fan, I will take getting to the playoffs every year as a good thing. I'd rather go to the playoffs knowing that I'm in the playoffs than not going at all. You know what I mean? So at least there's that.
Because playoff football is definitely different football. It's not like regular season. The stats everything gets reset.
Yeah, and it's like, I know the ongoing joke that Cowboys are seemingly always a bridesmaid at this point for the last 30 years.
Never a bride.
Yeah. I'm not crying. I'm not saying, oh my God. But at least you can see they're getting there. They just have to figure out, all right, we're good enough to get here. How do we keep it going? How do we stay hot? How do we, Yeah, no,
that's a lot of the teams that you don't expect. I expect Dallas to be a playoff threat. Nacho. Every year, they got a good offense, a really good defense. I mean, obviously, it looks like their defense didn't show. But to their credit, the Saints got a new offensive coordinator, and it's just really clicking right now. The whole offense is, firing. 2 weeks in a row. I mean, count Carolina, don't count Carolina. They put up over 90 points in 2 weeks. And the last team to do that was, I believe, the 2009 Saints under Drew Brees, and they went to the Super Bowl. Now, look into that as you will. I'm not saying it'll happen, but the last time that did happen with a team, it was the Saints, and they went to the Super Bowl. And enough, the Superdome down in New Orleans, I believe, is hosting this year.
And quite frankly, like post Drew Brees, what's it been, 4 or 5 years now, if I remember correctly?
I believe he retired in 2020.
Okay, so 4 years. It still, still shocks me after post Drew Brees that they're putting up 44 to 90 points in over the last 2 games. But at the same time, the fact that it's been 4 years, you kind of have to move on from Breezes. It looks like they're trucking right now.
They found something that works. Right now, if it, obviously week 2, I mean, a lot of things can happen, but right now I can see, I would say dark horse, watch out. because obviously as more weeks go on, more teams are going to be prepared if they got to play the Saints by watching more and more film. Dallas only had a week's worth, and I don't think it was, obviously they didn't game plan well enough. So, other than that, the week 2, Giants, I want to talk about Giants. Giants, made NFL history. I don't know if you know this, but they're the only team to score 3 or more touchdowns and happen to still lose the game.
Freaking Washington.
And they, unfortunately, Graham Gano got hurt on the kickoff trying to chase down the returner, and he pulled his hamstring. And that was the culprit. If you look at it, they tried the punter to kick the extra point, and he shanked it, and then it's like, okay, now you got to go for 2-point conversions. So it would have at least been tied. Or if Giants facing a 4th down, at least they would have kicked the field goal instead of having to go for it to try to convert. It could have been a different outcome. But in Giants' defense, yes, they lost the game, but Daniel Jones looked a lot more comfortable. They only allowed that offensive line has only allowed 2 sacks in 2 weeks. So I consider that a win. I'm looking for the small victories here. Yes, it would be awesome for the team to win. But you got to, Neighbors is going to look promising. He had 10 catches for 126 yards and a touchdown that game. So, he's going to be our number 1, where Daniel Jones is going to build that rapport with him.
Yeah, I was thinking, they only allowed, what, you said 2 sacks over 2 weeks?
Yes.
Any other issues? It's Daniel Jones. He has nobody else to blame but himself.
Right now, yes.
So,
he really
if the line keeps doing what the line's doing and mistakes are still being made, then New York definitely overpaid for Daniel Jones.
This is, unfortunately, they inherited this issue. They signed him, yes, but they how they designed the contract is, next year they can cut ties with him, and it won't go against the cap. It'll be a small cap hit, but it won't be huge. So essentially, they made it like a 3-year contract, and to get out of it. So next year they can literally cut him, and pish posh be done. And Giants are looking for a quarterback.
And regardless, it's only week 2. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Bills Dolphins on Thursday. What did you think? Are you shocked, surprised?
I was not. I was shocked that the offense didn't put up more points, but then again, Buffalo's defense always seems to mesh really well with new players, and they have a lot of good coaches in Buffalo. So, and then unfortunately, Tua got hurt. I wish him well, because this is like his 3rd or 4th concussion. And definitely scary moment when his hand came up and was all stiff and looked like a flipper. Not to make light of any situation, but the guy who literally died on the field, took out the quarterback.
Sorry for the noise. They're mowing the yard.
They're doing construction. They're building 70 more houses behind us.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Awesome for taxes.
Yeah.
But also, I expected the Dolphins defense to really step up, and they didn't. They let a Buffalo team with no real foreseen weapon. I'm not saying they don't have weapons, but you want to see what Coleman's going to turn into. I don't consider James Cook an elite running back. You let Buffalo's essentially, I want to say, no-name offense besides Josh Allen just run you over. And that is dangerous in my eyes, because who's gonna step up to be the number 1. You don't know who Buffalo's gonna go, give the ball to, and it makes it harder to plan if You just don't know. And if the offense is clicking with essentially, new guys, and there's only like three familiar faces on the offensive team, being the 2 tight ends and the running back. Oh, 4 and the wide receiver. But it's not like they, when they had Stephon Diggs and all that. I think Josh Allen's is more comfortable giving the ball out to more people, not forcing it to them.
And you know what? If you have plenty of weapons and a quarterback that's comfortable passing it around, it leaves everybody questioning, like, who's the ball going to? It's not like having Odell there where it's like, okay,
it's going to Odell.
Yeah, but at the same time, that frees up other people if you had, that kind of person there.
It does.
But, it's having a quarterback comfortable with everybody is definitely a plus. Everybody benefits from that.
Yep. Everyone does. But the Thursday night game, I was, I guess, shocked in a way. I expected Buffalo to win, but not that margin, if that makes sense. I expect to be a little bit closer, not just a dominating win, because the defense forced 3 turnovers. There was a score on defense. Buffalo's offense didn't really like to do a whole lot of work as the defense really stepped up. And so I foresee Buffalo being a danger and going forward. I'm not saying they're going to, win every single game, but they're definitely are going to make things interesting. They're going to make a deep playoff push, and I foresee them winning the AFC East.
Excuse me. All right, Sunday. Talked about Giants, Washington, Raiders, Ravens.
Huge upset. Ravens did not use the clock. They had that game. And I just think it came on poor clock management and gave the ball back to the Ravens. Turned the ball over to the Ravens. Or turned the ball over to the Raiders, and the Raiders kicked the game-winning field goal. I believe the score is 26-23.
Yep.
I'm happy for Antonio Pierce, former Giants linebacker. And he's really it looks like that team is pretty comfortable. Beating a team, the Ravens, who's always goes deep into the playoffs, and to stop, Lamar and stop Derrick Henry, and that gave them a lot of confidence, hopefully, going into week 3. It's saying the Raiders should be able to compete with any team in the NFL right now. If they competed with and beat the Ravens, they should be able to compete with any other team in the NFL through their season.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, what's going through Baltimore's head right now. Like, now they're 0-2 going into week 3. And
that's scary.
Close who lost last week. And then, close loss week 1. I know I'd be pissed. I'd be looking for blood. So
looking for blood, but I'm not panicking. Remember, this is where you got the Ravens have the running NFL MVP, and I think they just got to kind of settle down and go back to playing complementary football. They know the recipe for success. They did it last year, obtaining the number 1 seed.
Yeah, it's not like they fell off the face of the earth.
No,
they lost.
Panicking.
They lost by no more than 10 points the last 2 weeks. So
the Ravens team at 0-2. Now, if it's another team that's 0-2, I might be panicking. But if I'm the Ravens or even the Bengals, I'm not panicking. A lot of talent. There's a long season left. Yes, it's going to be an uphill battle, but nothing those teams that can't accomplish. So just you breathe. Let's stick to the game plan. Play good football, make smart decisions, and the teams will be fine.
All right, the toilet game from week 2, Browns versus Jaguars.
Well, Trevor Lawrence played like absolute horse shit. I mean, he did. He looked terrible, missing throws, overthrowing them. And the Browns, I'm not saying they played any better, but they did pull up the victory.
They just suck to less.
Yes. And I'm not saying the Browns are a good football team. The Browns have the talent to be a good football team, but they're not. Deshaun Watson's still, either, what, freaking peddling freaking massage therapist or whatnot. Whatever he's doing. I know they restructured his took out a clause out of his contract. If he gets cut from the team, they don't got to pay him. They got to essentially he's got to forfeit his guaranteed money back or something like that. It's something crazy. But it's like, good for you, Browns. I mean, finally, that's the smartest decision I heard him do.
Makes you wonder what the fuck's going on in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, Drew Carey said Cleveland rocks. I mean,
It's not because of the Browns, though.
no. No. I can't even see it for the Guardians either. I know we're talking football, but it's like, I think Cleveland rocks because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, in baseball, they haven't been good since like 98.
Go Yankees.
Ooh.
But yeah, that was, I think, I would like to call that game a controlled dumpster fire. It was just,
but it's in Jacksonville, and Florida itself is a controlled dumpster fire. So
it's a timeshare, really. The whole state of Florida is a timeshare. Yeah.
With humidity,
filled with people from the north and Cubans.
People from south. Yeah, the Yankees are going south. The Cubans are coming up. It's a beautiful situation.
I don't want to go to Florida.
Fourth game on Sunday. Jets versus Titans.
The Jets versus Titans. Quarterback for the Titans, Will Levis. He's mediocre at best. I mean, he makes plays at times, gets the ball out, but he's just, he's still young. And so I foresee him getting benched. I foresee the Titans picking up somebody in free agency or making a trade to try to right that ship. The Jets, I mean, that was their first win, so I think they're gonna build off of it. I think Aaron Rodgers looks more comfortable in the offense. And Breece Hall had a receiving touchdown, not a rushing touchdown. And
you all right? Having a hard time?
Yeah, I just burped. Sorry. Oh yeah, just the heart again. Is it normal that I'm kind of Oh, okay. And then we're back.
It's like,
right?
That's how I feel every time I watch the Giants.
I could show you how I feel like the Giants, but I can only show you once.
Gotta take a dump?
No. I meant like hanging myself.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. It's not like I put my family's savings into that game last Sunday.
You did. You doubled your net worth on a football game.
Or got some nasty people coming to my door, but we'll just cross that bridge after. It's fine. Oh, whoa! Welcome back.
Yeah, I thought you hung yourself there for a second.
No, I think it was just bringing up the sponsors, Slim Fast.
Yeah, you know what? They make an excellent product, and it works for some people, unlike Rogaine. And might be some problems later, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I hope you choke on a dick.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, we're getting off the subject.
We got Vikings 49ers.
Shock. This is where I say the Vikings are going to be underrated. I'm not saying they're going to be contenders, but they beat a Super Bowl team. Now, granted, the 49ers didn't have Christian McCaffrey. And I think Debo got hurt that game. I don't know if he got taken out of the game. But it's the 49ers. And how we expect the 49ers over the past few years is to be that team to beat in the NFC. Let's face it. They're the team to beat, in the NFC. And they got beat by a Vikings team who is being piloted by Sam Darnold. And it just, I would, if I was the 49ers right now, I'd be really looking in and being like, what the hell did we do? I'm not saying Sam Darnold's a bad quarterback, but then again, I'm like, you just lost to the Vikings. Where the Vikings were a flaming dumpster last season. And mind you, the Vikings are riddled with injuries, and they're only going to get better when these people return. I mean,
Sam Darnold, one of those examples that, previous spot, everybody was writing him off like he's not a good quarterback, he's not ready. He went to the right spot for him.
right
Clearly it's working for him. It's working for Minnesota.
It is. It is.
Okay. He got some time under his belt, and now he's with a team that has t-shirts that are long enough. Wearing your. I would have accepted the bike helmet as payment, but
I want to say this word as kind as possible, and I don't want to say it because I know you don't like it, but I looked retarded in it.
Well, to be fair, you do that to yourself without the helmet.
Oh.
But I love you anyway.
Now you just sound like my parents. This jacket's too hot. Sorry. I just wanted to put it on saying I didn't forget about the bet. I think Sam Darnold's in a good situation with the Vikings. If they keep playing ball like they are, I expect them to have a winning season. I'm not saying deep playoff push. I'm just, it's definitely something to build off of. Teams will figure the Vikings out. I'm not expecting them to just go down like in a ball of flames or nothing, but I expect the Vikings, to be the team to be a spoiler, essentially. Like they're going to be playing a team week 17, and that team needs to beat the Vikings in order to get to the playoffs, and the Vikings are going to go, haha, fuck you.
We don't need this game. You need it, and that's our motivation.
Right. So, I thought it was, I didn't expect the Vikings to win. They did. They played good ball. It just goes to show you in week 2, any given Sunday, that's what they say. Any given Sunday. And week 3 looks just as exciting with some matchups looking at this. So
let's run through the rest of week 2.
Okay.
Real quick. And we'll get on to week 3.
Sweet.
Chargers, Panthers. Totally not surprised about the outcome.
No, but that game will go down as a dumpster fire again, just because of the Panthers. The Panthers are in dismay. They benched their quarterback going this week, so now you got the fiery redhead and Andy Dalton starting. And it makes you think that Chicago really won in that trade 2 years ago, where they gave up 4 draft picks and Carolina gave up 4 draft picks and DJ Moore to be the overall number 1 pick 2 years ago to draft Bryce Young. And Chicago still gets 1 more pick, being a second rounder next year. and then it's final. Then it's officially complete. But they got 2 first rounds and 2 second rounds in DJ Moore. And now, mind you, Chicago's not in any better position. We'll get to that game too.
The only difference is nobody expects the Panthers to do anything.
They got to do something. I mean, they could, I'm not expecting, if they keep playing ball the way they are now, they're not going to win more than 3 or 4 games. This team is just pathetic. I mean, I don't know any other word. They're bad. Both sides of the ball. They're not competitive whatsoever.
And they've been like that for years. They're like the Browns. Like, nobody expects anything else from them but a win on their record.
I expect them just to be, I'm not saying don't play. If you ever got to play them, you're like, oh, this is going to be an easy win because that's how you get in those trap games. But they haven't been playing good ball, like you said, in years. Since Cam left the first time, that team has really been dysfunctional. Coaching changes, GM changes, players getting traded, and I just think it's an overall, the organization is doing bad business.
And you know what's sad is, till you brought up Cam Newton's name, I completely forgot that they went to the Super Bowl not that long ago.
Yep, Super Bowl 50.
That's how, like, they were bad. They went to the Super Bowl, came down, and they've been bad since. Like, I completely forgot they had that one amazing season.
15-1.
And
yep,
it's like, what happened? Like, most teams, like, will build, slowly build, get to the Super Bowl, come back down and kind of maintain. Like, prime example, New Orleans, they were so bad. They got Breeze. They lifted up, climaxed at the Super Bowl, came back down, and they're kind of maintaining. Carolina just, like, disappeared.
They said, hold my beer.
Yeah, they're like, we're good. We did it once. We'll never go again.
I just say, the Chargers, new head coach. I think Justin Herbert's going to get better with Jim Harbaugh. I always liked Jim Harbaugh as a coach. And they're just running the ball. He's getting back into old style football. It's like, we're going to run it until you figure out how to stop it. Or or my running back dies.
Maybe both. Maybe that's the way to do it.
And that's, and if that you go, the football, to me, it always starts with the offensive line, but it starts with running how are you going to move the ball first? You run it, right? And if you establish the run and the other team doesn't want to acknowledge that you established by stopping, you're just going to keep feeding the rock. I mean, it's not rocket science here. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure out that, hey, if they're running the ball up the gut, maybe stuff's a couple of fucking fat asses in there that can tackle to kind of clog up the holes.
Yeah, like you said, it all starts with the line. And I'll say that's with both of them, offense and defense. How are you going to open up holes on offense? How are you going to stop freaking defense from getting through? How are you going to be that wall so your guy can run or your quarterback can pass? And defense, your offensive line, put 4 300-pound muscular son of a bitches up front that can move a brick wall if they have to. Just keep feeding them cheese and sausage and push on through. And
plug your nose.
Yeah. Like George Carlin said, a bunch of guys that have a diet of nothing but cheese, sausage, and beer. And maybe a Michael Strahan in the end. And just freaking go wild. You got to break shit down. And until teams do that, people, I always say, like, in baseball, if you don't like people hitting home runs off of you, don't give them balls to hit.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want to see people passing all over you, stop them. If you don't like people running over you, stop them. You know?
But, you know, that's all I really got to say about that game. I mean, it's, you know, Carolina's going to be in dismay, and the Chargers are looking up, right? I mean, they got nowhere to go but up, I guess. I mean, you know, last season was, you know, pretty disappointing. I still have faith in Justin Herbert being a good quarterback. The thing is just, you know, he needs the right coaches around him. And I think he's found that coach.
And we'll see. You know, if they do well this year, and then they keep improving, you know, if they go 8-8 this year, 9-7 next year, 10-6, and you see the improvement, you know it's working.
Yeah.
You know. Moving on, Seahawks versus Patriots.
That game was overtime. So that was, you know, I don't think anyone saw the Patriots being competitive against the Seahawks. I'm not saying the Seahawks are an outstanding football team, but they did play good ball last season. And, you know, the Patriots to force overtime and lost to the Seahawks. I mean, I would take, yes, it's a loss, but I would take that. There's a lot of good to take away from that game, especially with the Patriots. You know, who do they have on that team? You know, they have nobodies on that team, and they're competing, right? So, you know, going back to the old adage, any given Sunday, you know, I bet you the Seahawks didn't think that, you know, the Patriots going to come in and be like, you know, there's going to be an easy win, and the Patriots went in and played ball and said, no, you're not going to beat us that easily.
You know, it might be a fluke, you know, because like you said, Seattle's not one of those teams you're like, oh my God, it's Seattle. But the Patriots are not in a good place right now, and they showed they still have some kind of fighting spirit left in them.
You know, if it was 2013 in Seattle, okay, that's something to get a little bit of a chub for, but it's not.
Yeah, no, not 2024. All right, the Buccaneers versus the Lions. One that I was surprised by.
I was too. I expected the Lions to go in, it being a semi-competitive game, you know, competitive game, but I saw the Lions walking away with the victory, and the Buccaneers won. Their tight end's not playing good. You know, Laporta, and it's just, you know, the Lions. I think they should, you know, take a look back. They're a good team. Just, yeah, I think they got humbled by a team that obviously played better than them that day.
Yeah, I was expecting the score to at least be reversed, but you know, again, I could see Lions going into week 3, a little pissed off, some chip on their shoulder, and come out blazing. Packers versus Colts.
Well, Malik Willis played well, filling in for the injured Jordan Love. They went in, they played, and they played football. They moved the ball, you know, between the hashes to convert, get points, and ultimately they won the game. And if you don't do any of that, you're going to be like the Colts and lose.
That was so poetic. Thank you, John Madden. To quote the great Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. And Packers played to win the game.
They did. They moved the ball effectively, converting on crucial downs, at least of 10 yards.
They moved forward and crossed into the end zone.
Multiple turns. No, but that was, you know, that game, Anthony Richardson, I'm not taking away from him. He's definitely going to be a good quarterback in this league. Packers are that team. I mean, I thought, I was immediately going to write him off after Jordan Love went down with the injury. And it just goes to show, they got a backup who made plays when it counted. And ultimately, they did win. So if I'm a Packers fan right now, I am not breathing easy by no means. But you got a backup that can manage the game, and I wouldn't be in a hurry to bring back Jordan Love right away. Just let his injury heal properly. Don't rush him back. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like if it takes 6 weeks and your backup, can go 3-3 in that time.
Now, if he goes, I'm not trying to be, but if he happens to go like undefeated, and you kind of get that. You remember back in like 2010 where the San Francisco, they had Alex Smith and he got hurt and they brought in Colin Kaepernick and Colin Kaepernick got really hot and they didn't know what to, Alex Smith was coming back off injury and like, what do? Do you pull the guy who's playing really well to put in Alex Smith? And, I think there might be a slim chance of that potentially happening. Depending, then again, Packers did sign Jordan Love to a huge contract. So, but if you want the best for the overall team, and if Malik Willis is playing at this elite level or getting better and the team's winning, and do you take that out?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I always hate the thought of a guy or woman, depending on women's sports. Your starter, your guy, goes down to injury and loses their spot, to their backup because their backup's there. But again, if they're coming in and the backup and you're going on this crazy winning streak, you're hot, your stars got to understand we don't want to fuck with this right now.
No, that's what that would be on mine. Be like, look, we're really hot. Let's be there to support the team, right? Even if I would, like, for example, if I'm the starter coming back from injury, obviously you want to get in the game, but I guess it's all about mentality. If you want, do I want the best for me or do I want the best for the team? Right? Right now, the best thing for the team is, if they get into that situation, is to support the team how they're winning now, right? Yeah. And then be ready if something does happen, doesn't be injury, but something happens to them, and to be ready to go back in to pick up the reins. But I've seen it a few times. I'm not saying it's going to happen this time around. If Jordan Love is going to be out 6 weeks, let's say, if it happens to go 3-3, I would consider that a victory. He kept the ship afloat. It's still, a decent record. He still got the 3/4, another half a season to play. It's not, you're not in panic mode at that point.
Yeah. And, as long the backup's there to obviously back up your starter. That's obvious. And as long as you could keep the ship from sinking, we don't, I never expect the backup to be the next Tom Brady, and replace for Bledsoe. But I just expect you not to suck, man. And he showed that he's
so lucky with that.
And, just prove that, you could keep everything together, so see how it goes.
If I'm the Packers, I'm taking it week by week. I think also winning that instilled some confidence in Willis to play better as well. So, I'm not saying Jordan Love lost a starting gig by no means, but I think, like you said, I think he's going to be able to keep the ship afloat. 3-3 will be good. I expect 3-3 from a backup. Anything better is a victory.
Yeah. Just don't destroy anything.
So.
The blowout that was the Cardinals versus the Rams.
The Rams are right now, if I'm a Rams, I'm panicking.
Yeah, they didn't just lose; they got their ass whooped.
They did, and they also lost their other receiver, Cooper Kupp, to an injury. So now you lost your number one and your number two. And you still got a confident quarterback in Matt Stafford, but who in the blue hell are you going to throw the ball to now? It's not like, you got Cooper Kupp on one side and Puka Nacua on the other, and the team's got to pick their poison on who to cover because you can only double cover so many people. Now it's like, oh, you don't got your number one guy out there or your number two. We can go into this basic defense and just take away everything. And so if I'm the Rams, you are right now paddling up Schitt's Creek. And I will do, I'll be looking at free agents. I'm looking at trades because the injuries that they sustained, and I fear that this will happen, is, I think Cooper Kupp's got a high ankle sprain. I believe that's like 4 to 8 weeks. Puka Nacua's got an MCL sprain. I think that's 4 to 6 weeks. One of those two players are going to rush back to play, and they're not going to be at 100%, and they could get re-injured. So if I'm the Rams, I'm looking at all avenues of trying to get some sort of playmaker on the offensive side of the ball to fill and try to be successful. Because if they don't do that, they may win 1 or 2 games before their starters return. Sounds like a Ferris mower.
The snapper.
You gotta love snappers.
Can't beat a good snap.
We're talking about lawnmowers, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank God.
For legal reasons, I say yes.
What's that?
For legal reasons, I say yes. It's a different stuff. Hey, Volvos are good cars. They're safe and reliable. That's what I gotta say about that. But what do you say about Steelers versus Broncos?
Broncos country, let's ride.
All right.
The Steelers won against that last week. They're 2-0. That whole division, the AFC North, is backwards right now. The two teams that are playoff contenders are both sitting at 0-2, being the Ravens and the Bengals. And you got the Steelers at 2-0, and you got the Browns sitting at 1-1, and probably looking like, hey, we're not so brown now. And don't worry, the reality of the Browns will come crashing down. I'm not saying this week, but it will. We all know how the Browns do.
Rather wear brown pants.
But the Steelers defense is going to make them win games. Justin Fields, I think, he's playing ball. I mean, it's not the greatest, not the worst, or he's doing just enough. But if that team is going to be successful, they're going to rely heavily on that defense.
Yeah, the score was low. The Broncos only put up 6 points. So as long as you keep them low in single digits and put up more points than they do, you're going to win the game.
I guess that's how you win, is you got to outscore your opponent.
Yeah. Preferably by more than 1.
Yes. Yes.
But segueing onto winning more than just by 1, Bengals, Kansas City, 26-25.
The Bengals had that game. And now I'm going to, because I watched the ending of it, right? I watched the second half. And the Bengals were keeping up with the Chiefs. And the Chiefs weren't really looking like the Chiefs. I mean, they were having a hard time. And then it came down to a defensive pass interference play that was it pass interference? Was it not? Did it just, it's, a crazy stat line is, I saw is, Patrick Mahomes threw 17 interceptions, all of what in 2 years, and all of those came back due to a defensive call. Now you could say, is that a coinky dink, or is that what is it? Be that as it may, the Bengals let that game slip. And then the Chiefs capitalized, right? So the Chiefs are sitting at 2-0. Bengals are 0-2. Now, if I'm the Bengals, I'm not panicking. I'm not.
You just took the reigning Super Bowl champs to the limit and lost by 1.
And the Bengals are going to play the Ravens week 3 when we get to week 3. So, the battle of the losers are going to happen. And, the only thing that could hurt them even worse is if they fucking tie. Excuse me. We'll get there when we talk about week 3. But, I liked what I saw out of Joe Burrow. He looked like the Joe Burrow of old, so he is a top quarterback in the league. And I think some people writ him off saying, he's not. And he just, showed it against the Super Bowl, being the Chiefs.
All right, last Sunday game. Texans over the Bears.
Do we have to talk about Caleb Williams with his stupid colored nails?
Hey, if you're painting your nails and you're winning, don't change your fucking thing.
Yeah, but he's painting your nails and losing. No. You don't go to a press conference before, the season starts and you go, the Bears,
The Bears.
Care Bear? Care Bears there! No. This is the Bears. This is the fridge. I don't know. Caleb Williams, he looked better than what he did.
Yeah, the Bears. Mongo,
okay. Yes, Mongo. I would go my Giants card, but it's in my wife's case of I forget what it's called. It's all surrounded by glass and it shows things off.
The armoire, the china cabinet.
Yeah, something like that. It's got a light you can turn on the inside.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. Not that we have it plugged in.
Because electricity costs money.
Yeah, but staring at those in darkness doesn't.
Yeah.
What am I looking at again? Oh.
Uh,
No, but the Texans, this is what I said. The Texans are going to be they're going to be winners of their division. I'm thinking, 3-4 seed again. They just in the Bears. I think they sacked Caleb Williams. I think they said 7 times in that game. And Caleb Williams, to his defense, in 2 weeks that he's played, he has been pressured 81%. I'm not pulling the stats out. I'm not doing the math right now. I just saw that earlier this week, and that was a number I remembered. But if I'm a rookie quarterback and I'm getting pressured that much, yeah, I'm going to be panicking too.
It's like, guys, I got sacked 7 times last week. Fucking block my ass.
At this point, he's just trying to survive, right?
It's like not another team movie.
Yeah.
Reggie Wright, concussion number 24.
Yeah. So the Bears, the only thing they didn't improve is their offensive line, and it shows. I'm not saying Williams was holding on to the ball for too long, but he's definitely got to get rid of it faster if he wants to not take a hit.
It's either take the hit or give up an interception. Either way, you're fucked.
You know, I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm just saying there's going to be some growing pains with him this season. It's going to show. A lot is put on the first overall draft pick, right? A number one draft pick has got all this pressure, but being the first overall draft pick has got, you know, that much more, and a lot's on his shoulders. And I get it. And I think that's what the teams are going to do. They know the offensive line is not the greatest, and if they just send one or two extra blitzers, you're gonna get this kid rattled.
Yeah, the line's gonna start breaking down. The more you do it, the quicker they're gonna break down.
Yep.
And
his timing. You know, I'm not even saying his timing's there, but
he has no time to get his timing.
Yeah. So I mean, I like Caleb Williams as an athlete. It's just the Bears need to get protection around him. You got the foundation, right? You got your receivers. He's got weapons. Okay, great. How's he going to get the ball to him? Right? Oh, you got this offensive line. Yeah, you're right. You do. But the offensive line that he has, I don't know, they're like playing blind. Not blocking. I mean, if that is blocking, that's not blocking.
Call it what you will, but it ain't working. Hey, Monday night, Battle of the Birds, Falcons, Eagles. Another 1 point difference.
Falcons won that game. Which, being a Giants fan, obviously me and you were very happy. Because in our division, we're only one game out.
Suddenly 0-2 doesn't sound so bad.
Right? I didn't expect the Falcons to win. By no means. I don't think anyone did. I expected the Eagles to go in and take care of business. Right, Eagles. And I didn't watch the game at all. I didn't. I needed to watch highlights. I saw the stat. I saw the line. I saw the last drive. Apparently, Kirk Cousins only needs 34 flipping seconds left to track down 70 yards for the game-winning. I don't think he scored a touchdown. They threw a touchdown, I think, for the win.
I don't remember. I didn't see the game either. I didn't.
But either way, you left too much time on the damn clock for the team to do anything for the victory, right? And granted, I mean, you would think 34 seconds, no timeouts. What is this team going to do? Well, it goes.
You know what?
That
you give a good veteran quarterback 30 seconds, he's going to make the most of it.
And he did. And the Eagles played poor defense, knowing that, okay, team, he's only got time to spike the ball one time. He's going to be throwing it. He's not throwing it to the middle of the field, so guard the sidelines. Don't let him get out of bounds. And what do? You don't guard the sidelines. He gets the ball outside, right? Stops the clock. It was a 70-yard drive they accomplished in 34 seconds. For the whitest quarterback in the league.
You know, it's like, how many times did Brady do it? You don't give Brady 15 seconds, let alone 30.
Kirk Cousins ain't no Brady. I didn't have faith in Kirk Cousins. He's a good veteran quarterback, right? And that's nothing more than what he is. He's a good veteran quarterback. I don't call him elite. I say he's good. Is he worth his contract? I'm going to say Daniel Jones.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, a good veteran quarterback that has somewhat of a head on his shoulders, he's going to get you downfield 70 yards in 30 seconds.
And that's exactly the Eagles should have known better. And the defensive coordinator on Eagles played really bad, made some piss poor calls, and their defense blew the game. There is no way the Falcons should have done that. All you had to do was tackle him in bounds, and the game is over. And they failed to do that. So, good news for the NFC East is that
I don't know if it's good that for the NFC East that the entire NFC East is hot flaming garbage right now, but for Giants fans, it doesn't seem so bad.
No, it is edible flaming garbage right now.
It's a fun day of trash.
Going into week 3, speaking of the Eagles, they're going, and the Saints are playing the Eagles.
So
I'm if that was the last, yeah. So I'm thinking Saints are going to win. Like though, if they're, and I won't be shocked if the Saints put up 40 points again. You let Kirk Cousins run down the field in 30 seconds. What are you going to do with this Saints offense to give them an hour?
all that thought. Let's start week 3. We'll come back around to that one. Let's do a little bit.
It's a circle.
And debubble in the face.
It explodes.
All right. Thursday night of week 3. Patriots Jets. I'm going Jets.
I'm going Jets too.
Because with Aaron Rodgers back, they did good last week. Both 1-1. You know, New England, was it a fluke that they won? You know,
Kind of hard to say.
yeah. Rivalry game. So, we both agree New York. The goddamn Jets.
The goddamn Jets. Nothing more to speak about it. It's, you got Aaron Rodgers and you got, the Patriots. I mean, Jets. Let's just go Jets.
All right, Sunday. Giants versus the Browns. The 0-2 Giants versus the 1-1 Browns.
The Giants signed a kicker, and we saw the Giants being able to score touchdowns. So with that being said, the Giants should be able to win this game.
I agree. They, after their tight loss against Washington last week, or past Sunday, where they only lost by a field goal down at the wire. Now they're going against a team that's even worse than Washington. As long as they do what they got to do, it should be a win.
It should be a win, but I won't put it past them to do a Brown thing and lose. Well, the one thing about the Giants' defense I will speak highly of is they didn't allow a touchdown to Washington. Now, granted, it's Washington, right? But nevertheless, a professional football team got held to not having a touchdown, and that speaks volumes. I don't care the team. Yes, the team still lost, but that to me shows the defense is really meshing together as like this bend don't break type D, and the defenses only can build, get better off that. And if, hopefully that goes into this week where the Giants score the touchdowns and the other team's only afforded field goals, then, since touchdown's worth more than the field goal, Reggie, guess what happens?
You score more points and you win the game.
Yeah.
All right. So, next game, Chargers, Steelers, both 2-0.
I want to say this is going to be the Steelers' first loss.
Really?
Yes. And the reason why is because the Chargers are running the ball, and I think it's going to be try to stop our run. We're going to tire you out and just keep pounding the rock. So I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be one of these probably 24-21 type deals, but I think the Steelers are going to get their first loss against the Chargers.
I'll go on the flip side. I'll go Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's always known for their defense, and if they paid attention to San Diego running, if they're smart, they'll stack the box.
And you know what San Diego did also? They ran the ball.
And Pittsburgh, if they're smart, they'll stop them from running the ball.
Well, believe it or
That could
not,
be a game changer.
believe it or not, a defense's job is to stop the movement of the offense.
No shit. Because that's how defense is played, right?
And if your defense doesn't stop the offense and the offense scores, the offense wins the game. It's a very simple concept. I can't believe you can't follow this.
I'll catch on eventually. I gotta catch on eventually.
It's like I'm trying to read a fucking pop-up book. Just holy shit.
It's like, wait, turn the page. Jeez.
Yeah,
All right.
you're fucking running the ball.
Texans, Vikings, both 2-0.
I got to know the availability of Justin Jefferson because he got hurt last week. My gut wants to say the Texans because they're the overall better team in my eyes. But I wouldn't put it past the Vikings pulling up the upset. It's an ad or something.
Sweet.
We're good. We're good. It's nothing bad. T-Mobile. But I see the Texans winning this game, but that's what I'm going with. Texans. I see it a high scoring too. If Justin Jefferson's available to play, I could see this game going, let's go 35-31.
You know what? I agree. High scoring. Looking at the past 2 weeks, with his closest the Texans have won versus how much of a blowout that the Vikings have had, except for the 49ers. I expect high scoring too, but I see the Vikings putting up more points, showing that they won the game. So I'll go Minnesota. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Eagles, Saints.
Saints.
Agreed.
Because fuck the Eagles. Now, how bad do the fan base have to be to have its own judge and holding cell in the stadium?
It's Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love.
City of
where
assholes.
They have so much brotherly love for each other that even when they win the Super Bowl or the World Series, they still flip over cars and set them on fire. Stay classy, Philadelphia.
Stay classy. Only good thing that came out of PA was Yingling.
Pennsylvania's nice. We got Hershey's chocolate.
Poconos.
The Poconos.
Guess we wouldn't have skill without Pittsburgh.
All
right, they could stay.
Pittsburgh, they're cool.
But, not speaking, I just, I see the Saints doing the same, what they've been doing over the past 2 weeks. And they're going to topple over them. The Eagles are going to try to compete. Got to see how healthy A.J. Brown is. He did play Monday night. I'm not saying that was a deciding factor of last week's, but if he's out again, it's definitely not going to help them improve their chances. But I'm saying Saints, and I wouldn't be surprised if Saints put over 40 again.
Great. Because when the Saints come marching in, have to pull out the beads.
God, this is why I have nightmares at night.
What?
Because you did that. When the Saints, I just knew you were going to do that. The Saints.
Come marching in. All right, the 0-2 Broncos versus the 2-0 Buccaneers.
Bucks.
Agreed.
Denver is, still trying to find their it, I guess, right? I mean, rookie quarterback trying to, so it's going to be Buccaneers. I mean, Baker Mayfield's playing really good ball. So, but expect the Bucks to be end the day with being 3-0, and expect the Broncos to be 0-3 and being like, well, we didn't expect to make the playoffs, but we got to figure out something else to do, unless you just want to tank the year and get another high draft pick. I mean,
You got to at least try.
you got it. You have to, right? I mean,
yeah. I hate tanking.
I'm not a fan of it either. That's why I'm glad the Giants didn't tank the last few games and actually tried, to win a few. You get more respect out of that.
At least if you try and still lose,
You try.
at least you could say, hey, we put in our best effort and we still suck. As opposed to, we lost 2 or 3 games in a row. Just take it easy. No.
Your first time? No, not my first time.
First time. What? The sex or the 40 minutes of crying?
Sex?
The 1-1 Packers versus the 0-2 Titans.
Packers. Funny
Agreed.
thing too, because Malik Willis is playing his former team.
Tennessee would have to pull something serious out of their ass.
Besides the massive ball they have? Yes, you're right.
Another rivalry game.
Ooh.
Bears Colts.
Why do you say rivalry?
Well, I always thought that, you know what? From when, all the way back, was it 06, 07? Watching the Super Bowl with Chestnut and Housewright. To me, it was always a rivalry. Like the Midwest, AFC, NFC rivalry. I don't know. I always looked at them as
Colts
rivals.
won that game, by the way.
Yes. Which is one reason why I wish Chris would have came on. Would rub it in. But that was when both were very good.
Yeah.
And Kane was still around.
I would say Colts. The Bears, again, it's all about that offensive line. And if their offensive line is shoddy, they're not going to win. I'm sorry. You're not going to get the ball out in half a second. And if you do, it's because of a fumble. So I say Colts.
They're both pretty bad, so I'll go on the flip side just to, flip the coin. I'll say Bears because it's like they either got to figure it out or something. Colts I can't. They both suck, so it's like just.
So we agree that they suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it's not as obvious as some of the ones we all agreed on. So I'll just be different and go Chicago. The 1-1 Raiders versus the 0-2 Carolina Panthers.
Well, so if I'm Carolina here, I am gonna try to win. But since they're wearing too small of helmets on too big of heads, the Raiders are going to win this game. The Raiders can easily put up 30 points against this just this team. Do you want to call the Carolina Panthers a team? Are they a team? I mean, is it just a bunch of grown men running around saying, "Hey, what do we do?"
Hey, as long as we're in the same jersey.
You know, so I'm going the latter. I'm going Raiders.
Agreed. The 1-1 Dolphins versus Seattle Seahawks. 2-0.
Well, Dolphins do not have their starting quarterback. Tua's on IR due to because he's slowly getting damaged. Not trying to take any respect. I wish him the speedy recovery and hope he makes the best decision for him to live a long life.
Agreed.
But I can see the Dolphins losing.
Yeah.
There's going to be some struggles here with Tua not at the helm. I'm not saying the Dolphins are great with him, but they're definitely worse without him.
Yeah. Of course, like you said, wish him all the best and speedy recovery. We both had concussions with questionable recovery. So we know it sucks. But that, I always want to see my.
You still got that?
What?
You still got that Kevlar?
Yeah, I do.
Great. Well.
For the record, anybody wondering why he's asking, I decided to smack him across the top of the head with a military grade Kevlar.
Which is military grade being either really, 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 really good or really, 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 really bad. In this case, this Kevlar could stop a 7.62 round.
And apparently it could stop Joe dead in his tracks as well. So
well, he made me freaking like Sling Blade for a few minutes. Ain't got no gas in it,
I don't know what's wrong with it.
Looking like radio out on the field, right? Like I can still play. Okay, I won't go.
So basically, you every day.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I carry a paper towel and Windex with me.
Sweet. I'm gonna wash my car. I need you out there to clean the window.
I'm gonna lick it first.
But like I was actually saying to myself last night that, forget what I was talking about with the customer that came in the store. But we were talking about baseball. And I always said, I'm a Yankees fan first. I always want to see the Yankees win. But I also like seeing other teams besides the Red Sox do well, because I'm also a baseball fan. So seeing history like the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series, that's friggin' history, right?
That is, yes.
So as I was thinking about on my way home from work, Miami is the same way, right? I'm a Giants fan first and foremost, obviously. But as a football fan, I want to see the history of Dolphins not just making it to the World Super Bowl, but winning. Of course, not at the expense of the Giants, but I want to see them win. And I always kind of root for them to be like, there's almost as much of a joke as, I said almost, of a joke as the Browns. Like, guys, come on. So, yeah, that's end of my
Who's the Dolphins playing?
Seattle.
So yes. Seattle should win that game.
Agreed. Considering where Miami is at right now, they should. But I wouldn't be surprised if Miami said, you know what, fuck it, we're going to win. But moving on.
And I guess if they send the Seattle bus off a cliff, I mean, sure.
Hey, it could happen. I don't know. I'm not a, scientist.
I just know shit happens.
Yeah. The 0-2 Baltimore Ravens versus the 1-1 Dallas Cowboys.
Ravens.
I'm not just saying that because I want to see the Cowboys lose, but Baltimore, they got something to prove right now.
They do, and the Cowboys, they gotta, of course I want to see the Cowboys lose, right? That's first and foremost. I'm going to say that. I do not like the Cowboys, never will. But the Cowboys are reeling, right? They just got blown out by a team that no one expected them to blow out because people thought Carolina put 40 points on or Saints put 40 points on Carolina. It's like, well, it's because it's Carolina. Well, then they did it against the Cowboys. And like, wait a minute. And now the Ravens, I just don't. I see the Ravens pulling the victory away from the Cowboys again, from the Cowboys still licking their wounds from getting blown out.
Yeah, they're not saying Dallas won't right the ship. But yeah, it's been a shaky first 2 weeks for Dallas and for Baltimore. But at least Baltimore has, they have something to prove. They were almost there last year, and
game away.
Yeah. All right, Lions Cardinals, both 1-1.
I'm going to go Cardinals. That's going to be my upset pick. I think they're playing, going off of last week, they're playing decent ball. I know Lions are going to be hungry to try to win, but, let's say, the Lions need their receivers to really step up. I know their tight end hasn't been playing really well. They need to kind of bring it back in. And I think they're going to be quietly humbled by the Cardinals. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a blowout like it was against the Rams. I think it's going to be probably, probably maybe like a 28-31 game with the Cardinals getting the upset.
49ers, Rams.
49ers.
Agreed. Yeah.
Rams are just riddled with injuries and apparently not doing anything about it. So they deserve what they get.
Yeah. I was always liked throughout history both teams, but the Rams are not good right now.
No.
And 49ers are still, the 49ers. So
49ers should easily, I know it's the divisional game, but they should easily win that game.
All right, 2-0 Chiefs versus the 1-1 Falcons.
You know what? I'm going to ride with Kirk Cousins here.
Going ATL downtown.
Second upset. The Falcons are going to beat the Chiefs. And I just think, the Chiefs are going to get a little cocky, and they're going to be thinking too much about Taylor Swift's pancake ass than thinking about a football game.
I still until Kansas City gives me a reason to bet against them, I'm always going Kansas City. And at the beginning of every week or before every Chiefs game, my wife says her little prayer to Taylor Swift. So, and you know what? It's working out for him so far. So, hey,
I just think Kermit the
what's
Frog.
up to Travis on that one?
I think Kermit the Frog is going to be caught with Miss Piggy. Fuck the Chiefs.
Hey, we all like bacon. All right. All right, the 2 Monday night games. The 0-2 Jaguars versus the 2-0 Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
Great. not like they have Burt Bortles anymore. The 1-1 Washington Redskins versus the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals are going to get their win.
Agreed. Very good. That Washington's one win against the Giants. It's not exactly a surprising win, and Washington's not a great team. Bengals are a lot better than their record says they are.
Yep.
So, going Cincinnati too.
Yep. I'll go Cincinnati all day against the Commanders. Is that a
Washington? I'm sticking with Washington.
Yeah.
All right, so that was week 3. We've been on here for an hour and a half now.
word?
So, see you next week.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I got a couple more weeks left before I start my new gig, but it's afternoon, so might be able to sneak one in before I go to work, for future podcasts. I've always enjoyed this. We did one for WrestleMania. We're doing ones for NFL. Hopefully we can get, Chris on for next week. I'm down. I'm up for it. To the people that are going to watch this, Reggie, my best friend here, don't believe him. He's a pile of shit. No, we go back, right? I mean, we've known each other since 2005, going on 20 fucking years. And it's funny. I want to say this at the end of the podcast. That, no matter where the conversation is left off, we pick it right up, where we left it off. We've only seen each other a few times since the separation from the military. Who can raise their hand because they didn't get stop lost?
Who got extra money because they did get stop loss? Yeah, they compensated me like an extra $100 a month because of that shit.
Who was given the glimmer of hope of baby getting out?
That's okay. Yeah,
Still have nightmares about that.
I'm just thankful I wasn't alone in that situation. And it was like the 3 amigos, me, Tater, and Boydston.
Oh, God. Tate got the worst of it out of them all.
Yeah. You got stop loss.
No, he was stop loss. Yeah. He was stop loss the entire 15 months. You should. I mean, like your end date was like something 08, right? Or something. Or
yeah. My ETS date was September of 2008. We were there, what?
January
9 months.
January 2008.
And then they had me for another 6 months.
Yep.
And I think Boyson was about the same thing, about 6-7 months.
8 was the whole thing.
And not to get into too much detail, the whole situation with Jeff, he was like, I'm not even supposed to be here. And then right before we leave,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Not even supposed to be here today.
But
I do got a clerk sign.
Did they assure you were open?
Hanging up in my corner.
I got from when we met Kevin Smith and Muse last year at Comic-Con San Diego. Got the little face masks of them. Little fans.
You should have dressed up as Cock Knocker.
Just walk up and hit him in the nuts.
Why the fuck did they call you a cock knocker?
It's a nice story behind that.
Well, so until next week, Joe. Let's see how the teams do. I mean, obviously, you kept track of who's picking what. It looks like you're taking some notes over there, unless you're just scribbling or playing tic-tac-toe by yourself. I don't know.
Yes.
But I'm excited for this Sunday. Anyway, I'm going to be watching the Giants-Browns game first and foremost, to watch two dumpster fires try to, I guess, get bigger.
But you know what? The Giants, they're our dumpster fire.
They are, and I care about them. It's my dump.
Yeah, it's my trash. We're like Sporky. We're trash.
Yeah, we are trash. We know it. Yeah, look at me. Look, how much trashier can you get? I'm wearing a tuxedo T-shirt.
You know what? I appreciate it. I wanted to say this at the beginning, but you came on. You're trying to be formal, but you're also trying to party.
Yeah. I imagine my Jesus as lead singer of Leonard Skinner with great eagle's wings, and I'm in the front row getting hammered drunk.
I like to think of my Jesus as a samurai fighting off all the evil ninjas.
Ooh, that's a good Jesus.
Good Jesus.
That is a good Jesus.
With the katana.
My Jesus wouldn't even need a katana. He'd use the Force.
Jews are just space samurai.
Ooh, space samurai. Go on a mysterious planet, find a life form, and fuck it.
I would. Yeah.
And then people are gonna remember them. You see that guy? Fuck the Martian ones.
All right, but
Bring your kids to watch this too.
All ages welcome.
All ages welcome.
We're rated PG-13. We're allowed one fuck. I just used it. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. But catch you next week, bud.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be here. Bells and fucking whistles. Whoops.
Yeah. Man, you just put us over the hard R. That's it. We got to go full naked now.
Ew.
But anyway, till next week. See how week 3 works out.
Yeah.
And hope everybody's team does well, unless you're Dallas and Philadelphia. And peace out, guys.
Okay, peace out.